The Oklahoma City Thunder fall to the Houston Rockets, but their youngsters played really well. The defense, not so much. Let's talk about it all on today's show.
You are Locked On Thunder, your daily Oklahoma City Thunder podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Let's get it going on the Locked On Thunder podcast on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I am your host, media member and beat writer for Thunder on SI, Rylan Stiles. Follow me on Twitter at Rylan_Stiles. Follow the show on Twitter at LOThunderPod. Email the show, LOThunderPod@gmail.com. On today's show, brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. We're diving into the Oklahoma City Thunder falling to the Houston Rockets. The youngsters playing well for each side, really. The defense, not so much. SGA struggled a bit, and the Los Angeles Lakers are next in a baseball-style series. So the dreams of a 70-win season are dashed with this loss to Houston, which, you know, it would have been cool for the Thunder to end the season on such a historically long winning streak and to get 70 wins. Ultimately doesn't really matter, as they still have already clinched the number one seed in the West. They're still in the driver's seat for the one seed overall. And even if OKC and Cleveland ties, the Thunder's record against their cross-conference foes would allow them to have home court advantage through the entire playoffs. So it's important to keep into perspective the fact that this was a one-off game, the fact that this was a regular season game, and the fact that Houston, rightfully so, was the hungrier team, was the team who got out to a quicker start, who executed better. There's in no way, shape, or form an ability to diminish what Houston did tonight. They were the better team tonight. They were the team that executed better tonight. They were the team who took the game more seriously tonight. They were the team that were able to find enough to win a game. That's been very rare. Clearly, it has been. It's only 13 losses now for Oklahoma City in an 82-game season. Still very impressive for the Thunder. But the Rockets deserve all the praise in the world tonight for what they did. And they get to celebrate this however they so choose. And this was an impressive 125-111 win over OKC, in which the Thunder's historic defense lapsed a bit. I mean, Sengun had 31. Jalen Green had 34. This is a team that entering tonight only gave up like 9 30-point outings all season long. And one of those was to this Houston Rockets team where Fred VanVleet got hot in December. And yet tonight they had 2 30-point scorers in Jalen Green and Sengun. And then you also saw Fred VanVleet have 13. You saw Jae'Sean Tate go 3 for 4 from 3. Amen Thompson had 16 points and was just flying all over the floor and was the best athlete on the floor, as he is every single night that he's on the floor. He had 2 blocks and a steal. The Thunder just did not defend to their identity. They did not defend to their level and to the standard that they've set. And when you're looking at this game and picking through it, Houston controlled the game. They controlled the game from the word go. Thunder start up 3-0 on the Chet Holmgren 3 en route to a very impressive night by him. The game gets tied, and then from there, Houston grows a 23-point lead, and they really keep the Thunder at an arm's length for the remainder of the game. Thunder had a couple 10-2 runs, a couple runs to get it down to 10, even get it down to single digits in that fourth quarter. It just wasn't enough to win, and when you look at the box score, it's easy to see why. The Thunder got dominated on the glass, 60-40. The Thunder had 15 turnovers. And they end up forcing 13, but 15 turnovers is so unbelievably uncharacteristic for the Thunder. Not only do they rarely ever lose the turnover battle, as they lost it tonight, 15-13, but very rarely do they commit turnovers to where it looks even more lopsided. It creates even more possessions. It creates even more of an advantage. Then you go on down the list. So they weren't competitive on the glass as they have been this season. They did not win the turnover battle, much less win it by a wide margin as they have this season. They did not win points in the paint as they have all season long, that they lose it by 2 points. They did not win fast break points 19-8. They lost second chance points 13-7. I mean, this was a game that Houston was going to win with all those factors at play. The Thunder end up shooting 37% from 3, but it was not a great 3-point shooting night for most of the contest. And then both sides shot 48% from the floor. Houston shot 44% from three, and Houston was the aggressor tonight, and they got the win. So the defense, has to be better, and it goes back to what we were talking about last show, even and the show before that. The double big stuff, it needs work defensively. I think that they've really found their groove offensively. But even Isaiah Hartenstein in our exclusive interview for Thunder on SI was talking about how defensively that's where he thinks that they can take another step. And he pointed out by his own admission that there are times where both of these defensive anchors, both of these shot blockers are going for blocks, and it creates a disadvantage for OKC because as they're both going for blocks, leaving their feet, that's where you allow putbacks. That's where you allow backdoor cuts. It's where you allow things that happen behind you that creates easy points for the other team. That happened tonight. The defensive style and identity with two bigs on the floor is very different. It's also very different on the perimeter. This is a team that at their very best defensively can switch 1 through 5, switch 1 through 4 minimum, and just suffocate opponents on the perimeter. It's tougher to do that. Not impossible, but tougher to do that with 7-footers. And even so, as we just rattled off what went wrong in this game, it's very, very, very important to keep the scope of this was one game of an 82-game season. We have a massive body of work to suggest that these will not be problems night in and night out in the playoffs, because overwhelmingly the defense has been a massive positive for this Thunder team this whole season. It's why they're at a historic mark this season on that side of the floor. And it will continue to be as such. But, this game, it really went according to plan in the sense of what we ranked as important. Again, another shout out for Thunder on SI. Doing the game preview, the keys to the game tonight for me were, one, got to shoot the ball really well. Got to shoot the ball really well because this Rockets defense is physical. This Rockets defense can clog the paint, especially if you're not hitting your shots. So you've got to loosen them up a bit and shoot the ball well from three. Didn't happen tonight. I mean, they end up with 37% from three, but it didn't happen for the course of the game and to start the game. Then you had to create turnovers and win that turnover battle. Didn't happen tonight. Then you had to win the double big lineups, and the double big lineups for OKC matching up with Houston. Both teams start two bigs, with Steven Adams getting the start and Şengün getting the start for Houston and Chet and Hartenstein getting the start for OKC. Like, their double big lineups worked better tonight. I still don't think that it changes anything. I still think, obviously, the Thunder have won the season series. The Thunder would be heavy favorites if these two teams met up in the playoffs, which would have to be in the Western Conference Finals. So, if things hold serve right now with Houston in the 2 seed, which I feel pretty comfortable that they will be in the 2 seed now, the Thunder, this is not something to take and run with or be concerned with. I think it does sharpen the point of, while the double big lineups are not bad, they're actually good. They're really good together. You just can be even better when you have the starting five from that Detroit game, where it's Shea, Lou, Kaysen, Dub, Chet, and that being a tone setter allows you to not get into a steep hole. It allows you to really flip that advantage on its head and start fast. And a lot of the times, it's kind of how you start whenever you have a team that's talented as Oklahoma City. Get up to a fast start, they're going to be able to nurse that lead. I mean, they've had the most double-digit point wins this season of any team in the NBA, tied with the 72 Lakers, widely regarded as the best team of all time in NBA history. That's because they're able to start fast. They're able to control the game. They're able to nurse a lead no matter who's on the floor. You can think of very few times of the Thunder blowing a lead. And I just think that you start a bit faster whenever you have Chet at a more natural position of the center. That being said, though, Chet was awesome tonight. And Chet was awesome while starting alongside Hartenstein. J-Dub was awesome. So I think that there are, as much as you can be emotional about this loss to Houston, I think that there are positives in it that matter a lot more than the final score does. Because the route you got to the final score, not to take anything away from Houston, were situations that the Thunder don't find themselves in very often. And credit to Houston for coming out and forcing the issue, right? Because we can't sit here and dance around about the Thunder's 0-0 mentality and how they take every game seriously and how they, attack every opponent. And then when they lose a game, say, well, it didn't really matter. Like this game, big picture wise, doesn't matter. Individually tonight, credit to Houston for facing a team who does have a 0-0 mindset, who wanted to win this game, who was trying to win this game. I mean, you look at what the Thunder played tonight. They played their playoff rotation tonight. I mean, they didn't have Isaiah Joe, which hurt. They didn't have Jay, which hurt. But Dylan Jones and Carlson and these other guys at the end of the bench, they didn't get into the game until the blowout time, until the 4 minutes of garbage time that this game saw. Besides that, it was playoff level players on the court that just didn't execute good enough to win this game, and that Houston had every answer for. So credit to Houston every which way for a big win for them. But I still think in this loss, there was a lot of good to take from it, specifically at the top. Whenever we're talking about the big three, Chet and J-Dub were awesome. That's all coming up on today's show. But first, I want to say right now, but our good friends over at 5 Hour Energy, go check them out today because daylight savings has snuck up on us again. And if you're feeling that loss of hour of sleep, 5 Hour Energy has your back. The extra sunshine means time for fun, and sometimes you need a little boost to power you through. Whether you're staying up late watching the NCAA tournament, squeezing in an hour of golf after work, or you're just trying to keep up with your busy day, 5 Hour Energy gives you that quick, refreshing pick-me-up whenever you need it. Stay tuned right now because you're going to find out that when you're out and about, on the go, whether you're traveling to a game or on a road trip or just having an extremely long day at work, we've all had those. 5 Hour Energy is easy to grab, and it keeps you feeling refreshed. So head on over to 5hourenergy.com to find over 15 flavors to choose from. Those flavors include watermelon, blue raspberry, and peach mango. You can even build your own 12-pack or 24-pack, and it's delivered right to your door. If you need one right this second, go right now and grab a 5 Hour Energy shot at your local grocery or convenience store. They're everywhere. Stock up today and stay energized with 5 Hour Energy. We're back on the Locked On Thunder podcast, on the Locked On Podcast Network, your teams every day. Chet Holmgren had a career high in threes tonight with 6 threes, 6 for 8 shooting. He actually did not make a shot inside the arc en route to 20 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, and 2 blocks as he was a +3 in his minutes, which is really good considering the score, considering the situation that the Thunder found themselves in. You look at the starting lineup, and as much as this doesn't necessarily matter in terms of like individual plus minus, it is a good indicator of impact that Chet had in a game like this where he was the only starter to have a positive plus minus. Chet, I thought, really played well. And him and J-Dub are very important to watch down the stretch. If you're sitting there wondering, like, what does this all mean? Why should you keep watching when this team is putting up these historic marks, but ultimately they'll really be judged on what they do here in a couple of weeks in the playoffs? Like, seeing Chet, seeing J-Dub find a groove is important because these are the important questions that the Thunder have to answer. And I think that tonight they continue to answer them. Like, you look at these two guys in particular, you're going to need Chet and J-Dub to be awesome in the playoffs for you to reach your goals. That's just going to happen. And that's why I've grappled with the expectation level of this team, because you're asking two guys in their second ever playoff run to be incredible, but they can do it. And with these two guys, Chet hitting his threes is a big deal. That floor spacing is a big deal. And as Mark talked about against Detroit, and you saw against Detroit, it has ripple effects for his game. Because even against Detroit, when Chet was 0 for 5 from 3, go back and watch his buckets where he had another good game. I would say that these are some of his top games since returning from hip injury. Boston, Detroit, and now this game against Houston. That game against Detroit, he was 0 for 5 from 3. Yet he still garnered the respect and attention of the Pistons defenders to where a shot fake gets a flyby, and now he's driving in. Now he's at his spots in the mid-range. Now he's at his spots in the rim. Now he's getting better looks and easier shots. Tonight, when you go 6 for 8, like, that's naturally going to pull the defense away. And while it could lead to, pump fake drive in, it also can lead to, hey, you're pulling guys away from the paint. And guess who operates really well in the paint? J-Dub, Shea, Kaysen off the catch. Like, a lot of these guys are designed to cut. A lot of these guys are designed to drive. And so as you put a guy on the floor who can pull defenses away from the rim, that's a great thing for Oklahoma City. And so, like, that's going to be super important. And a game like this should not be cast aside because the Thunder lost. Because the path to the Thunder winning and winning big is through games like this from Chet and from J-Dub. Because I guarantee you, right, if you got these games from Chet and J-Dub consistently in the playoffs, you will very seldomly get a game like this from Shea, where he only has 22 points and he shoots 45% from the floor and 1 for 6 from 3 and has 3 turnovers. Like, you're going to get a much better version of Shea to couple this with these other 2 guys, to where then you're really talking about a team that feels unstoppable. And so I think that your 3 of Chet, J-Dub, and even Hartenstein were really good tonight in terms of how they flowed offensively. We've talked about the defense. In terms of how they flowed offensively, that is really encouraging. Because while the other players didn't have it, right, from 3, Lou Dort 0 for 4, wasn't on ESPN. Kenrich 1 for 3, missed a wide open look from Kaysen that should have gone in and has gone in historically this season. I mean, he's been red hot from 3 for the last month. Kaysen himself 0 for 3, Caruso 0 for 2, Wiggins 2 for 5. Like, while these other guys didn't have it, like, if you just bottled up the 3 performances from Hartenstein, Chet, and J-Dub, and you throw in a good SGA game, which happens way more often than not, you throw in Isaiah Joe knocking down a couple threes if he was healthy and he was playing, then you paint this picture of a really dominant team. And so we've been sitting here all season long wondering, like, who's going to be the second option? Who's going to step up? And so I think that it deserves credit to J-Dub when he is that second option, when he does step up, no matter if the Thunder won or lost. Because if we're going to criticize him in wins, right, because the Thunder have won way more than they've lost, if we're going to wonder about him in wins, you have to praise him whenever they lose. It's just the fair thing to do. And tonight, Chet was really good. J-Dub was really good. 33 points from J-Dub, 61.9% shooting from the floor. So 33 points on 62% shooting from the floor, 2 for 3 from 3, and 6 attempts at the free throw line. Should have gotten there more. I mean, he had the 6 attempts in the first half, I believe. 3 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals, and a block from J-Dub. He was getting to the rim relentlessly. He had that stop on the dime, pull up mid-range game. That behind the back move to shift, around 2 Rockets and make them collide into each other like he's Bo Jackson and Tecmo Bowl, just zigzagging through the defense and getting to the rim to finish. Like, that's the good stuff. And why it matters so much is because of what the Rockets did. The Rockets gave you an excellent test because they were playing physical, intense playoff level defense, and they had their guys clicking. You go up and down the Rockets rotation tonight and find me the guy who did not play good defense. That's a massive credit to them. They played really well. J-Dub out executed them. And sometimes great offense beats great defense. And that's what happened tonight for J-Dub. This was not a walk in the park for J-Dub, despite his flashy box score. He had to really, really execute and really work through congestion in the paint, really work through physical defense, and he executed very well. And this has been a trend for him, especially, like, you look at what he's done since he's returned from that hip injury where he suffered it on that Monday game against Denver. And then he was out for a while and then came back. He's been getting to the line more. He's been scoring more. He's just been an overall more impactful player. And we've asked Mark about it. I've asked Mark about it. And Mark has talked about how this consistent stretch of play has been different for him. And in those 4 games, leading up to tonight, because it's Basketball Reference does not have tonight's game on there yet. The 4 games from that Denver injury to tonight, he's averaged 21 points, 4 assists, 4 rebounds, and then you throw in 8 stocks, 0.8 stocks, because he's averaging half a steal and 0.3 blocks, and then he's shooting 53% from the floor, 43% from 3, and he's getting to the free throw line 5.5 times a night. And that's before you factor in the stats he put up tonight. He's been really good now for 5 straight games. I think this is his best 5-game stretch of the season in terms of impact. Now, you can probably go and finagle some numbers and find a better 5-game stretch in terms of averages, but in terms of impact and commanding the offense whenever he's in there, and the Thunder went on a run, whenever he was leading the charge, so to say. It's been a very impactful stretch from J-Dub for 5 games now. He's playing his best basketball at the right time. This is something that's going to have to translate to the playoffs, and this is something that can put the Thunder a peg up in the playoffs. And it's been at times tied to Hartenstein, who Hartenstein had 16 points tonight, 7 boards, 4 assists, a steal, and 2 blocks. But the brick wall screens that he was able to set for J-Dub and help free up J-Dub against the playoff level defense. That's what was not there for J-Dub last year against Dallas. That's what J-Dub really struggled with against Dallas, where he had a bad offensive series, and he did. I'm not going to excuse or shoo away that he was bad in the playoffs offensively against Dallas. Sure. But how do you help him? How do you help him get to where he wants to go? It's like anything else in life. We all need help. You might be excellent at your job right now. You probably weren't excellent day one. You probably needed to grow in that role, and you can thank a lot of people to help you grow in that role. You might be an excellent human right now. You were not an excellent human out of the womb, right? You had to be cared for. You had to be progressed. J-Dub is getting progressed at times by Hartenstein, which is a great thing, to use those screens to free him up, especially in a night like tonight where the three-point shot wasn't working, so Houston could really focus on taking away the mid-range, taking away the rim. This is another element to, even if the shots are not falling, and there's three-point shots weren't falling against Detroit, and you still had guys who could free up J-Dub and let him get to his spots. You still had guys who could help create space offensively, even without the three-point shot. Overall, it wasn't enough tonight. They still did a lot of things poor tonight specifically, but these were some of the positives, right? And it's going to come down to glass half full or half empty. You can look at this game either way, right? Because, yeah, if the Thunder shoot like this, where their core guys like Lou Dort's 0 for 4, and Kinders is 1 for 3, but you got an 0 for 5 from Caruso and Wallace. You got a 2 for 5 from Wiggins, and then Shea was not good tonight. Like, if that happens over and over again in the playoffs, yeah, it's not going to be good. Then you have to, weigh with yourself, how often do you think that that's going to happen? I'm personally of a belief that we can only go off what we know from this season. And what we know from this season is this is going to be a very rare occurrence. But the three guys of Holmgren, Hartenstein, and J-Dub, they were sensational. They were guys that you really want to focus on in this game, because the other stuff is just making shots, and it's a make or miss league. Like, I thought that Lou Dort's processing was very good tonight, especially one of his first times with the ball in his hand tonight. He gets the ball, takes a step inside the arc, and old Lou Dort would have either taken that mid-range jumper or tried to hammer his way to the rim. This version of Lou Dort takes a step inside, freezes Şengün, throws a pass behind him to, I believe it was Chet in the corner for 3. Like, that playmaking and decision-making is a much improved aspect of Lou Dort's game. And you just need to couple that, as you have throughout this season, with the three-point shot going in. And he's done those things this season. He's been a much better decision maker. He was still a good decision maker tonight. He's been a much better shooter. The shots didn't go in tonight. So you're missing only one element of that. I thought that Cason Wallace was good tonight, even though his box score wouldn't suggest that, because he only had 2 assists. He should have at minimum had 4, and you can go back and look at even more potential assists than the 4 that I'm thinking of, where he had the situation with a give and go with Shea, which was a beautiful play and a beautiful set where Cason has the ball top of the key, goes to Shea at the elbow. Shea goes right back to Cason. Cason gets the pass, kicks to Kinders in the slot. Kinders is wide open. He's been red hot, shooting over 40% in the last 7 games. He misses the shot. That should be an easy assist, and that's a really good winning play from Cason. He has another one where he gets the feed underneath the basket, pump fake, turns, kicks out to Chet, wide open at the top of the key. Chet's 6 for 8 tonight. That was one of his misses. It just so happened that was one of Chet's misses. He hits that. That's another assist for Cason. That's another winning play by Cason. I thought that Cason played really good tonight, just that the box score wouldn't show that or correlate that, because he didn't make his shots. He went 0 for 3 from the three-point line, went 1 for 7 overall from the floor. So, I mean, again, it's about what you want to take from this game. These are the things I'm taking from this game. You have every right to disagree with that. We'll talk more about this game coming up. But first, I want to tell you right now, my good friends over at FanDuel, go check out FanDuel today, because FanDuel is there for you as the NCAA tournament comes to a close. It's the Final Four. FanDuel is giving you a chance to get on the action like never before. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. That's $200 in bonus bets using it on everything from buzzer beaters to who's cutting the nets down. Right now, it's fast and easy. So the FanDuel app is simple to use, and when you win, you get paid instantly, no waiting around. Just go to FanDuel.com to get in on that action right this second. Make sure you go check them out today at FanDuel.com. You can even bet on the NBA if that's more your style. You can bet on the NBA like the Bucks and Heat, where the Bucks are 2-point favorites at Miami tomorrow. Go check it out today at FanDuel.com. We're back on the Locked On Thunder podcast on the Locked On Podcast Network, your teams every day. Here talking about the Oklahoma City Thunder falling to the Houston Rockets. And, Wiggins came back from the Achilles injury, or the Achilles tendonitis that he was suffering through. He didn't look sharp tonight. He had a turnover. He missed shots. Still got you 3 rebounds. But overall, like he didn't look sharp tonight by his standards. That's going to be expected. I say it all the time because I believe it's important. Sometimes you just have to listen to the players. And there's some things where former players especially are way out of line on, but current players will tell you that, no matter how hard that you rehab, no matter how hard you practice, you can't simulate in-game experiences. And to throw Wiggins in this game where it's a playoff level feel and it's a playoff level intensity, not really shocking that he struggled a little bit and he'll now have a runway here to get back into the group before the playoffs. So it's good to see him back on the floor. Then Isaiah Joe popped up on the injury report this morning and did not play tonight with knee soreness. So that was a big factor as well. I mean, in a game where you really needed some offense at times and you really needed some shooting at times, injecting Isaiah Joe into this game could have been a big difference maker. Caruso, the 0 for 2 from 3, not a banner night. 0 for 4 overall, not a banner night. I thought that he still had the block. He still played relatively good defense. Thunder got caught ball watching a few times that you don't love to see. He had an assist and he had 4 rebounds. But ultimately, it's just one of those games. I mean, you're going to have games like this. And the Thunder have not had many. They've only lost 13 times, folks. But you're going to have games like this where it felt like the Rockets couldn't miss. It felt like you couldn't really do much right. And the fact that you've only had this many games of that nature is still impressive by OKC. But the winning streak is snapped. The dreams of 70 are gone too. The best the Thunder can do if they won out would be win 69 games. Very nice season still, but not as good as 70. But again, it doesn't, it would have been cool, but it's not like a make or break deal to hit that 70 win mark. Coming up, the Thunder do play a baseball style series with the Los Angeles Lakers, which begins on Sunday afternoon inside the Paycom Center and concludes on Tuesday night inside the Paycom Center. That will be the final regular season home game of the season for Oklahoma City. And I'm curious on a lot of different factors about that Lakers baseball style series. I'm curious about how the Thunder respond to tonight's game for an afternoon tip-off on Sunday. I'm curious about how the Lakers handle the, back half of this baseball style series, because if you didn't know, right, the Lakers will head from Oklahoma City to Dallas. And it's obviously going to be Luka's return game to the American Airlines Center on the second night of a back-to-back. So both teams will play on the second night of a back-to-back on Wednesday. The Thunder will head to Phoenix, like Glenn Campbell. The Lakers will head to Dallas and have what will be one of the biggest regular season games of this second half, because you're going to get to see Luka, I think, in the American Airlines Center. With that being said, the reason why I'm so curious about it is with both teams having to manage a back-to-back, I do wonder what the lineups will look like. On paper, you assume that the Lakers won't want to, no Laker will want to miss that Dallas game. Like, I think that the Lakers will want to play full stop in the American Airlines Center against the Dallas Mavericks. So then, can you really play them against the Thunder in the Paycom Center Tuesday? Vice versa, the Thunder are also managing a back-to-back. When do they want to get some rest for their guys in a season in which they kind of already have everything locked up? And then that Sunday afternoon game, then you get into the chess match of, okay, if we're going to have to rest on the Tuesday game, do you really want to show the opponent anything? Because right now, the Thunder and the Lakers have just never played this season. I mean, they've played in name only this season because the rosters are so different. Because the Thunder have gotten healthy, the Lakers have had a home improvement makeover. They've moved the bus from their roster and revealed something completely different. And so Sunday will either serve as the first domino to fall of getting to see how these two teams interact, how these two teams match up, or it can serve as gamesmanship of neither side wanting to reveal their cards until a potential playoff meeting. I find that cat and mouse game to be very interesting as well. I find that cat and mouse game to be something worth monitoring. And we'll see what they end up doing. The basketball fan in you hopes that everybody on both teams is very healthy, especially for that Sunday afternoon game. And then Tuesday, more understandable as you manage it back-to-back if either team wants to sit. But I hope that we see both teams play at full strength Sunday. We'll see if that actually comes true on Sunday in the Paycom Center. So it'll be very interesting to see either way how this Thunder team responds to this loss. They've been excellent at responding to losses, as you can clearly see by the fact that they've only lost 13 times. So they clearly have not been stringing together losses this year. They're going to have to do it again against the Los Angeles Lakers on Sunday. That's all we got for you today on this bonus episode of Lockdown Thunder. Subscribe on the podcast feed, leave a review, subscribe on YouTube, leave a like and a comment. Follow me on Twitter at Rylan_Stiles. And until next time, be good and be good to one another.